And now that you brought the health deception issue up, both health and education, I know the BC Liberals said promised they would maintain services.
Yes.
How well do you think they've lived up to those promises overall?
Well, I'll give you another health example, and then I'd love to turn to education because it's an area that I know well. Um, Another organization that does great work is the Burnaby Seniors Wellness Program. Every year over the last few years, they have had to fight for a very small amount of money. $40,000 a year is what they'd like to have in continual funding. They've been receiving less than that, but that's what they need. For less than $3 a person, that program has seniors come into a couple of community centers in Burnaby, and they get their pulse checked. They get various they see podiatrists and so on, see nurses and so on, very, very reasonably priced. That keeps people out of the healthcare system and saves a whole bunch of money. Well, they're fighting again now. We don't know what what's going to happen this year, but that's a good example of wrong-headedness when you're making cuts to communities in terms of health. Now, education, I was on the school board for 9 years in Burnaby, and I was a chair for 2, so I know well, and I keep in close touch with my former colleagues on the school board. The Burnaby Board of Education is facing, with this budget, funding shortfall of an average of about $9 million each and every year over the next 3 years. So in other words, they're going to have to cut $9 million this year, $9 million more the next year, and another $9 million. On average, that's about what it works out to. So this is desperate for the school board, and I know the minister has stood up in the House and said, well, there's declining enrollment and we can find administrative savings. Well, I can tell you that in Burnaby, Burnaby has got the second lowest administrative costs of any of the districts in the province. In addition, it is a leading-edge district. It's been called that in its provincial reviews, leading-edge district, provincially and internationally. So we are talking about a district that has done very well and is very effective in using the tax dollars for public education. And this school board, like many other school boards, is facing really deep cuts, and I know what it's going to mean. It's going to mean larger classes, and that's the only place really that there's anything that can be done, because most of the budgets for school boards, 90%, is in salaries. So really, the only way you can make those kind of cuts is to increase class sizes. I don't think that's good for the students and their families and the province generally. If you're looking forward to the future, what we should be doing is investing more in education and keeping up with the costs and maintaining our first-class public education system, as well as post-secondary. Post-secondary is facing cuts as well. Post-secondary cuts, actual cuts to post-secondary, and again, in all of these areas, what was promised before the election was substantially more than what we're actually seeing now in this budget. These are the things that we need to build on. We need to do it in good times, and we need to do it in bad times, because our future is going to be in having a strong citizenry who are well educated and well equipped in the working world. That's where we need to be going.
Similar to the health ministry, there's direct funding, but with education as well, there's indirect funding. There's programs and services. I'm wondering what sort of cuts we see there.
Well, one of the ones we've just heard about is that the gaming funds that have been going to playground equipment replacement is being cut completely this year. So government has gone back, and I guess due to pressure, they're putting a little bit, restoring the funding that was going to PACs, but at the same time they're completely axing the playground funding. Well, I know that in Burnaby right now, there are 17 of the 40 elementary schools have playgrounds that need to be replaced. So there's no funding for that now. So you know, I was talking to the chair of the school board about it yesterday actually, and she was saying, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen next with this government. You know, everything is in flux. You're told you're getting something here, you're told you're getting something there. She said it's like a shell game. That's what she compared it to. Very hard to plan prudently, fiscally, to plan budgets for local boards when they don't know what's happening with the funding, and there's flip-flops and changes repeatedly.
Seems like they try to make cuts wherever they can. Then when they get in too much trouble with something, they try and fix that.
Exactly, and that's not a prudent way to run a province.
What has the minister's response been to when these issues have been raised for Burnaby?
Well, we certainly, one of the things that Raj Chauhan and I did, MLA for Burnaby Edmonds, we invited Margaret McDermott to come to Burnaby to see how effectively, how well run the education system is, and to come and see some of the challenges that Burnaby has in terms of having a large number of refugee students, and said, come and see some of those schools and what a great job we do in Burnaby, and then think about how is it that we're going to be able to cut. We're already lean and mean. Well, we hand-delivered that letter to the minister a couple of months ago, several weeks ago, and we got a response back saying that she wasn't going to come, that she didn't have time to come to Burnaby. Well, if you can't come and see what the impact of the cuts are going to be, or how well a district is doing, how is it that you can run a ministry? You know, you need to know what's going on in the school. So we're really disappointed on that, and we're still pressing for her to come to Burnaby and have a look. I think she'll learn something if she does, and we're right next door to her. Her riding is very close to mine. It'd only take her about 15 or 20 minutes to get there. So.
Well, we're just about out of time, but I understand you brought a couple photos with you, and I was wondering if you could walk us through what we're seeing here.
I'd love to do that. Well, the first one is when I was celebrating Lunar New Year, and I was up at Crystal Mall meeting with merchants and shoppers there, and this is one of the women that I met, and she was really pleased to get the poster that I had there. That was this picture is a picture of Clubs Day up at Simon Fraser, and it was a great opportunity to get up and meet lots of students from Simon Fraser and see the great work that they're doing in the community. They're giving so much to their university community as well as the broader community. So this is one of the students there. Oh, that was a fun day. That was the day of the torch relay coming through Burnaby, and that's a picture of me with one of the torches and a flag, and that was a special day.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Edward.
And thank you for watching Constituency Report on Shaw TV. We were speaking with Kathy Corrigan, New Democrat MLA for Burnaby Deer Lake.